everybody. This is Ryan. I'm a co-founder of a project called Foam, and we're working on proof of location. So excited to give you an update on what proof of location is and a brief glimpse of our current MVP demo. So taking a step back on what is proof of location, or why would you be interested in it, is first thinking about how we utilize positioning today. So traditionally, we rely on a system called GPS. This is a satellite system that's operated by the US government and made available for free for commercial and civilian use. So there's about 24 satellites currently orbiting Earth. And for you to be able to use this system, your phone or GPS device has to hear from at least 4 satellites. So one for X, Y, Z, and a fourth for time variance. And so GPS has been a tremendous economic value. Things from Garmin to Pokemon Go to Uber all rely on GPS. So it brings value across a number of different sectors. So how valuable GPS is, it's also vulnerable, and its vulnerability has been on the rise. This is through things called spoofing and jamming. Jamming is when you interfere with the signal with a different radio, but spoofing is actually easier. Because GPS is only one directional, and it doesn't know anything about you on the ground, you can easily change your GPS on your phone. So this is very popular with Pokemon Go, as well as with Uber or Lyft drivers, and Uber or Lyft has to find ways to counter spoofing. We've also seen in different DePIN projects themselves of people spoofing where they put the radios to try and earn more tokens. So GPS is essentially vulnerable and can't be relied on for verification at the level of like Bitcoin or Ethereum. So the problem that we're looking at is GPS is extremely valuable, but it's not secure. Data is not verified. And people have to build additional systems to try and check on those things. In itself, it's a single point of failure, and then if it goes down, it could affect things from ATMs all the way to how your phone works. And like I said, it's trivial spoofed. You could either download an app on your phone, you could open the developer mode, or you could get more sophisticated ways to trick us GPS. And so when it comes to smart contracts and doing things on chain, you can't really rely on data that's so easy to make up or spoof. So at Foam, the solution we're working on is a terrestrial-based radio network. You can think of it as kind of a local GPS. And we use time-of-flight algorithms to do like multilateration, triangulation. But the difference between GPS, other than it being on the ground, is that it's bidirectional. So as a user, I can actually talk over radio and sign a message with my Ethereum key and have that be relayed on-chain. So this is how the system essentially works. We call it a zone of coverage. And you need at least 4 zone anchor radios. We have some at our booth if you'd like to see it later. And so zone operators can operate a zone of coverage. There'll be cryptoeconomic incentives to do so. And then use cases of users, whether that's a person walking, a bus, a ferry, can talk back to this system, pay a fee, and generate what we call a presence claim, which is essentially your proof of location. So the previous image was abstract. This is what these zone anchors look like. On the left is our plug-and-play model that we have an example of in our booth. And we've also have some DIY models we've built using Raspberry Pis. And this is some example of what the installations look like on different rooftops with like fiberglass DBI antennas and things like that. As well as in the middle, my colleague Coleman, who's here in the audience, holding a mobile node for testing, creating presence claims. So yeah, more detail, this is the plug-and-play zone anchors. We have 100 manufactured for a pilot run that will be available for an incentivized testnet to be announced soon. But otherwise, this is a custom PCB with accelerated hardware. We're built on an FPGA, and we use that for nanosecond level timestamps for localizations. In addition to hardware, there's a lot of software that enables proof of location. Our main application is called Hostel. This is where you could manage your radios and see things even like the CPU temperature, as well as what experiments have been run lately. And our core software is something called TimeSync. This runs on all our devices and can manage our radio transmission patterns and how packets are timestamped. I might not have mentioned the radio we currently use. It's called LoRa, which is a low-power IoT radio. And so in addition to having hardware and firmware, we're also a blockchain-based project. And our current MVP, which I'll demo in a moment, is built on the Optimism stack, the OP stack. So we have a set of smart contracts, which is like how you create a zone and how that's managed with a stake, and then how different payments would be paid by users when these what are called mobile presence claims are generated by mobile nodes. So these are some different versions or evolution of the mobile nodes over time. The one all the way on the left was a full radio we used to carry around, not very convenient. The one in the middle is the one we've been using for the last year, and that one needed to be plugged into a computer. And more recently, we've been testing this beta one I have here, which is fully wireless. Still a beta model, can be a lot smaller. But you do essentially a one-time pairing with your laptop to sync it to your MetaMask or Ethereum wallet. And then otherwise, it works fully wireless. And when you want to click the button, it will transmit. So that probably should be the next slide. Yeah, so I have a video, so that's possible to pull up. Okay, so this is a demo of the hostel app I mentioned. We have a mobile view as well I can show after. So if I had just clicked the button and I was in this zone in Brooklyn where there's coverage, it'll start to spin and show that those different radios heard me. Then popped up that I was heard by at least 3 radios and I got a localization. So then it prompts, would you like to mint this on chain? In the demo I said yes. And then it showed all the previous presence claims I had created in the past. That's the one that I just made. So this is now minted on our Foam Optimism DevNet chain. And this is a zone in Brooklyn. Then in the app, you can look through all your historical presence claims, see them on the map as well. And then you may want to be able to use these presence claims for different applications. So maybe that's a geo-gated NFT. Maybe there's a delivery you're making, and to get the payment unlocked, you must prove you were near where the delivery was made. We like to see this as a primitive that other people could build on top of or hook into. So hopefully the most exciting use cases won't come from us. I always think how Twitter hashtags were invented by the community. So that was a quick video. We have more videos by our booth. If you guys want to check us after, we can go back to the slides. Thank you so much. So yeah, we've most recently been focused on this MVP demo of having a user flow, a front end, and actually being able to mint presence claims. So if there's a zone, unfortunately there's not one in Denver. We have some in San Diego, Texas, New Jersey, and New York. So if you were there, you would be able to then sign cryptographically over radio. And when you're heard by these zone anchors, you would be able to mint that on chain. So we've been building this for a number of years and started with a test network in the Brooklyn Navy Yard where we're based. And about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we opened up a beta program. This was called the Trust Zone beta program. We had a number of teams from all the way from hobbyists all the way to wireless internet companies help us test these radios. And the purpose of that program was not really on the blockchain side, but it was more on how do these radios perform in different environments. So we had rural as well as urban environments, and a number of teams help us get that testing done. I don't have the video up, but we also have a mobile user flow as well, which we can show you at our booth, where once you have this wireless node set up, all you would need is that node and your phone, and you would be able to kind of see the zone hearing you in real time and when you would be able to mint. So we have a mobile flow as well. So I kind of mentioned through the talk, but this is a low-level primitive that things can be built on top of. So proof of location is not the use case in itself. But some use cases we're excited about are like a secure location passport, so some sort of private sovereign history of where you've been that you can bring on chain. We're working on a demo for NFTs and gaming. If anyone's ever heard of the board game Settlers of Catan, we're working on a augmented version of that. Well, each zone will have different resources, and you would either have to go to all the zones or trade with people who've been to them. But there are more kind of B2B traditional use cases where alternative positioning technology is playing a role. That's primarily in like supply chain, free trade zones, ports, and things like that. So this technology can also play a role there. But yeah, as I'm trying to kind of convey, we see proof of location as a new crypto primitive that then could be built into and enhance other applications. So this is something that can be powerful for smart contract developers. It's something that's new and novel on chain. Ultimately, the network will be incentivized for people to provide coverage where people want this kind of coverage. And we have custom crypto-accelerated hardware. So in case anyone would like to get involved and operate a zone, we still have kind of a wait list and a rolling participation there. The main requirements are you need 4 locations that have line of sight to each other. You need this initial 4 with line of sight. Zones can then be bigger with more nodes that don't all need line of sight. And so these are the requirements for the DIY nodes. These plug-and-play nodes we have now will definitely be able to go larger distances. But we have some of our contact information here, and we've more recently been active on Farcaster. If you can make an account in the Warpcast app, we have a foam chat room there. But you can find us in the links here, and thank you everyone for your attention and time.